the impact of Who Killed Lucy is still seen 10 years later. If you could change one thing about the storyline, what would it be? Personally, me, I would make the killer be Jane Beale because she's a useless character and nobody likes her. That's a callback to a video that we did.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, I would probably change. I wouldn't change the killer. I'd change some bits where I wouldn't make Bobby into like where he wants to kill people. I'd simply make him into a person who accidentally done it, if that makes sense. Because from what I heard, Ash has been telling me, is he tries to kill Jane and he just gets a violent rage, which I don't like. It's not cool.
It's like the way I described it is how Hunter became a gun pervert and then wanted to start killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of how they treated Bobby after the news came out, because he attacked Jane and then suddenly became this big bad. And it could be all nonsense that I read, but I remember at some point saying they wanted to make Bobby Beale the new Nick Cotton. But obviously, well, that didn't fucking happen, did it? They went a completely different direction. Yeah, the aftermath of it is a questionable thing in itself. You go from Bobby, who was this accidental, I didn't mean to do it, mummy. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. And then you have Jane kind of insulating him from it the whole time. Like, look, it's fine. You do anything for your kids. Blah, blah, blah. I just make it a bit more... I don't know. It's the question of, did they know Bobby was going to be the killer at the end? And if they did, they probably should have reinforced it a little bit more and teased that he's probably the killer. I don't know, like, the issue of saying who was the killer and was it teased all along is, like, who else would you make kill Lucy? Because you still want it to be a fairly big character. Because if you just do a cop-out, like, oh, it's Warren Fox. It was Warren Fox, or Jake Stone. It was Warren Fox all along. It's like, oh, great. They don't really want it to be Max, because you still want Max to be enjoyable enough. You still want him to be a character you can still have on the show for years to come. Then after that, where do you go? You make it Lauren, I guess? Like, nah. There aren't any good answers, and Bobby was the best blanket character. But yeah, I love how all the people saying, I think you should have changed who killed her, and then you ask them who they would have chosen, and then they usually don't have any answer for you, because who the fuck would you make kill Lucy? But yeah, that's probably what I'd change. If you know it was going to be Bobby all along, I would make... You don't need to make it more obvious. Like, I do enjoy the subtlety as who done it, but it's one of those things where I don't think anybody really predicted it. Just like the Keanu thing. I don't think anybody was really predicting Keanu to be the guy who dies at Christmas. So... But then everybody now, like, it was so bloody predictable. No, it wasn't. You just you listened to all the theories, and none of them said Keanu. Fuck off.
Actually...
But also, since we weren't there, we can't really fucking... Since you weren't there at the time watching the Who Killed Lucy stuff, we are going through it now. Obviously, at the end of when we get through it, we'll be able to suggest if they made Bobby an actual suspect. Ultimately, till then, we don't really know.
Actually, the only one person that predicted online that's not my dad about Keanu is Jonathan Ross. You have Martin is the dead body, you had Reese the dead body, you had Keanu's the dead body, you had Jack.
He did make about 700 different predictions.
He did, but just because you make 700 predictions doesn't mean one of them's going to be a shot in the dark. That's right. You know, because it still lives on in infamy over here in the Watching Walford community. There's all Jonathan Ross's Martin is the dead body.
That's Piggy and the voice in his head.
Yeah.
Just says the line just repeatedly. Yes. Say Keanu was a dead body. No.
It's just whenever Jonathan Ross comments, like when you're having an argument with someone and then they comment on your videos and they're like, oh man, you've just changed so much, and then you immediately get flashbacks that like that conversation. Actually, I just switched to number 4. You get a flashback to that conversation that they had with you, where they're like, you're shit, no one likes you, you're adopted. That's what happens to me whenever Jonathan Ross comments like, Oh, Jonathan Ross's comment. Great video, guys. He did well
Didn't
on
know
this
my
video.
mum comments on the YouTube channel.
Huh?
Oh yeah, you fucking missed it.
And then it's like, and then it's just, and then all I hear in my head is, Martin, it's a dead body. And I'm like, oh, Jonathan, I can't, Jonathan.
I'm just mourning the loss of that joke. You weren't paying attention. Fuck's sake.
Maybe I was paying attention.
Self-deprecating.
Maybe I was paying attention. I just sandbagged it. Who knows?
Very untrue.
All right.
Keep rolling.
So we're gonna look at some comments. And see what they would change about the storyline. This is all about what you would change. So, like, for instance, instead of Lucy having blonde hair or whatever hair she had, change the colour of her hair, I guess.
Why is that the example? What thing would you change about the storyline?
Her
The
hair.
entire storyline. You can change anything.
It's just
honestly, if I could, I'd go back and change it to the other actress. I don't know about that. Obviously, I know that's not possible, but she was a significantly better actress than this version of Lucy Beale.
It's like when you ask her, if you could go back in time and change any event, and then they just go, oh yeah, I'll just make sure I bet on all the horses, I'll win. It's like, you could stop a historical event. Yeah, and that's me. It's like, what would you change? I'll just change her hair colour.
Mate, I gotta eat home slice. Fucking what you knocking on my door for?
But anyways, this says, the impact of the Who Killed Lucy is still seen 10 years later. If you could change one thing about the storyline, what would it be? The murderer. I found it hard to be sold that it was Bobby all along. For me, it just felt very random. I think they had to go with Bobby for reasons. He's the biggest surprise. They can work with it and move past it. Bobby was a kid, so they can portray it as sympathetically. Anyone else would have likely had to leave the show.
Yeah, that's well said. That is well said. Bobby was a perfect candidate because they can simply, if it fucks up, you can just never have him appear again. And also he is a long established character, but he isn't any he's not that impactful. He's impactful in name, but his name is the biggest value of him. No one cares about the character. You can mold him into whatever he needs to be. If you make it any of the adults, you're now suddenly morphing this kid. You're suddenly morphing an adult into a murderer. And how Max generally grabs sympathy. How much sympathy are you getting when Max is genuinely murdered like a 18-year-old or 21-year-old that he was sleeping with? It's much easier to paint over the cracks rather than look at the fucking hole you've left there.
Yeah, this comment has buckled me. I never watched the episodes dealing with Lucy's murder. But it just didn't make sense to me, and everywhere I look doesn't give me a clue.
Fuck
why.
Off.
For the whole thing, wasn't Bobby also a bit younger at the time? Question mark.
I want to have an opinion. Didn't watch it. Never watched it. But here's my opinion about something I didn't watch.
Right,
which some would say that's me as a whole.
Well, here comes Bleed with Wallace with a fucking elbow drop. He was 10 or 11 I think at the time. If memory serves right, it happened. He was supposed to be looked after by Masood as he was staying there with Jane. Jane had something going on. I think she wasn't in the house, so Masood had to look after him. They managed without notice to go from Masood's house across the square and into his father's house without being seen to talk to Lucy. For me, anyway, it felt a bit forced. I know Lucy caused a lot of grief for everyone, especially her father. I'll never forget that house party in 07, 08. But she never did anything to cause Bobby pain or grief. Anything personal, anyways. I honestly felt like picking a name from an abundance of names out of a bowl. That's what it felt like for me. When I read about it, it definitely felt like they could have chosen anyone else and it would have worked. I felt like they chose them on purpose for the shock factor to me. The episodes are now available on the iPlayer. Thanks for the shell. I'm not in the UK, unfortunately, so I'll have to watch it on with BritBox. Does it make no sense? Oh,
there's so many comments.
Do you want me to read the last one here?
No, he can go through it. Old Midnight Mitchell generally has some good shit to say. It knows what he's talking about, or knows what they're talking about, rather. But yeah, I look. All right, I love it when people say, and I don't really want to be that dickhead who says if you didn't watch it, you'd have a right to an opinion, because we still haven't technically watched it, but we are watching some of it. So I guess half validity, but also. Don't make and this is just me being a hypocrite, but don't make overwhelming statements if you don't actually know what's going on. Like, fucking, someone else will give an answer that'll be much more thorough than yours. And if that's someone, I know we can point the same to me saying a bunch of shit wrong, but leave me alone. All right, I'm doing this all day, every day. But yeah, point like, I never watched it. But I think they could have done anything and it would have worked. It's like, well, that's not true, is it? Come on. Anyways, not going to hark on with that a lot.
I'll just switch to number 3. Oh, fuck. That might be a bit off center, but who gives a shit? You can complain in the comments, but who cares? I'm talking
What's off center?
The title a little bit. The eyes a bit like hidden. He's a shy eye. That's what he is. So like, don't mind them guys. But like, Bobby is the right choice. I understand there is some continuity errors if you look at it hard enough. But everything has a fucking continuity error if you look fucking hard enough. Like, how is Princess Peach from Mario's Castle still getting kidnapped after 40 years nearly? How is she still getting kidnapped? You there, Ash?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Alright, how the fuck does, you look hard enough, you're like, how the fuck does this happen? How does it happen? The Walking Dead, how do people get away from the zombies without being killed multiple times? It's just, if you look hard enough, there is going to be continuity errors. Like, so, I understand Bobby, yeah, how did he get across the square without being seen? He's a fucking 10-year-old. He's not like a bit rotund wearing shorts that don't fit him and you can hear him from a mile away. That was a cell phone for me because But he's a child. He can do what he wants. Yes, I know he got across the square, but still that doesn't matter. It's just if you don't like it, you will nitpick it. Is what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
And that's what people are trying to do here. They're trying to, actually, if you look hard enough, you will see that Bobby Beale did not mean to kill her.
I mean, it's not. I can't. It's not particularly a big own. It's like some things are written immaculately, and there aren't very ways. Like, yeah, sure. But I do understand. If you want there to be problems, if you are outraged for any reason, you will find problems with it. Because ultimately, if you have a problem with it, you're not exactly going to buy into it, which therefore will make you be like, that's fucking stupid, fucking hell. Yeah.
Back to number 4, time to read Midnight Mitchell, if you don't mind. Do you mind? Or will I go past them?
No, read it.
Because it made no sense, and it was DTC pulling it. I'm smarter than the audience card. Dominic Treadwell Collins for...
Yes.
I immediately forgot who DTC was, and I was like, that's not a name of a company. But anyways,
executive producer at the time.
Yeah, he was the executive producer, and probably, from what I heard, he upset Carol, the woman who played Bianca's ma. From what I heard, yes. He upset her. So he seems like a bit of a wanker, but he seems better than the actor who ruined Alfie Moon, the director who ruined Alfie Moon. But still, Bobby was an absolute angel until it's revealed he killed Lucy. And all of a sudden, he's a troubled kid with violent emotional problems. That combined with Jane being involved was outright insulting. Dominic Trevor Collins even stated it wasn't meant to be Bobby. That decision was made later on. Who the fuck was it supposed to be then? He had no vision for the storyline. Not to mention the actual Lucy dead episode was pretty brainless. She gets attacked multiple times and suffers so many fake out injury. It's a bloody panto. Bobby deserved the final blow, but around 5 different people helped kill her. Still, one of the most brainless reveals in a soap. Dominic Trevor Collins had no idea how to plan long term. Anything to say on that?
I mean, it makes sense just reading through because I'm not too familiar with
His work.
I'm not familiar with his work now. Well, I am obviously, but obviously he came in initially from '05 to 2010. Comes off the tail end of the golden era in a way. With you come off the Den Return, Cat and Alfie, all this stuff. Then in like 2006, shit's fucked. Like, fucking hell, you've certainly got to do it. Paid the show through obviously the introduction of Roxy and Ronnie. I suppose also. So I will say he spent 5 years as he was a senior story editor, so he wasn't even executive producer during that time. So he spent all that time with a bunch of different stories. He wanted to add characters who were a bit more flawed. He didn't want to add these fucking perfect characters because I mean that's just a simple thing in soap. You don't want perfect characters. Nobody likes them. Who the fuck? We're all flawed as humans. We're supposed to be playing humans. We're not fucking animals. He helped create the storyline of Saeed and Christian, and he also did the Who Killed Archie. But yeah, when he returned, it was he did do some good stuff. Like he brought on the Carters, good time. Didn't really flesh out the Carters particularly well. What else did he do? Brought in Charlie Cotton. Brought in Alex Shirov. Yeah, they can't all be good. They can all be good. Brought in Tosh. They brought in Donna, Les, and Pam, and returned Stacy, and reintroduced a bunch of different characters as well. A lot of good stuff. A lot of returns did take place under him, but also, yeah.
Did he also bring in Dot's carer at the time? The one before Fat Boy, the girl.
Dot's carer.
Yeah.
What, like Poppy or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, Poppy.
Adding some emphasis on it. Poppy! No, that was Brian Kirkwood.
Brian Kirkwood's better. Fuck you. I love Poppy.
Apparently he was back for a little bit and apparently he's written some episodes this year.
Oh, Dominic?
No, Brian.
Welcome back, Brian.
But yeah, that to wrap around to just give a bit more perspective on who Dominic Treadwell Collins was as a writer and as an executive producer. Honestly, it kind of checks out. I can't lie. The Who Killed Archie one, it felt like it only ran for like 2 months. I may be wrong, but it says obviously Archie was killed at Christmas, and I think it came out during the live episode, which would have been at the next anniversary week. So yeah, not really one for planning in the long term. And you can even think of it. It was, let's bring in good characters now, and let's just see if they last. When ultimately a lot of these characters we have mentioned did not last. Okay. Yeah, I somewhat agree with that.
Yeah, will I continue reading or do you want to end it there?
How much time we done?
We're at 19 minutes and 5 seconds.
Let's do some quick fire. Just let's see some interesting. Scroll down. We'll see if we see any interesting ones. Jane being involved. Fair enough. She's been Nick Cotton. Yeah, it wouldn't have been too bad. Peter instead of Lucy. Lucy was wasted anyways.
There it is.
Didn't go on so damn long and story kind of effect, but story lasted from 2014 to 2016 and maxed out to jail as our revenge story and it's 4 years. It wasn't that long, let's be honest, lads. I get that people get bored very quickly. I feel like the Grey storyline was longer than all of that.
The Grey storyline lasts from 2020 to 2022.
So I guess not 4 years, but still 2.
Well, if you're counting when he was introduced and being abusive, that would be roughly 2019 to
2019, yeah.
2018, 2019 to 2022. So about 3 years. 3 or 4 years. So yeah, you're correct. You're correct. You give yourself a pat in the back. You are correct. I don't.
My least favourite era in EastEnders.
Yep. I still don't think they should have done it. It was a waste of character to kill them off. Bobby being his killer for me. If it had not been Lucy that died, I think she had potential. Even if it had been a recast as well, I just don't understand wasting a twin. For all the soap seem to do it, Emmerdale, Coronation Street, etc., etc. Wasting the twin with more potential too. No matter how many recasts, they just can't make the other work. Might have been able to do it with Lucy though.
I suppose there we are. I think it's I don't think Peter's the problem. I think the problem is they can't figure out who he's supposed to be. They can't figure out if he's supposed to be Ian, or he's supposed to be better than Ian, or he's supposed to be like a mix of the between. And also they just haven't progressed his character. Like, we all joked about it, how he's like, "Mum, I'll leave," and it's like, Pete, you're a 30-year-old man. You're still living with your mum, and you're barely speaking to your kid. Like, I don't feel like he's necessarily grown up. He's not really. You don't really see him. You know, when Ian was like at this age, he was like starting all these businesses and trying to build his empire, and like had his different relationships. Peter's just been existing on the show since he returned, and it's, yeah, sure, he's now gotten the Lauren stuff, but a lot of that was already established from the start, so there wasn't really much wiggle room for it. So yeah, I think that's the problem with Peter. I feel like both characters could have been used much better, but ultimately I think that version of Lucy was utterly expendable, and wasn't a particularly interesting character. I think killing off Stephen was a bad move more than killing off Lucy, in my opinion, but that's just me. Anyways, yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. So I'm gonna end it off by killing Ash with a music box. Special effects editor edit the scene.
Smash.
Ash, you have to sell it.
Blimey, I'm being killed.